Hello and welcome to this episode of Where Are the Graduates? Our guest today is Arron Prisk, who's our IST alum at Penn State DuBois. So let's get started with an introduction. Arron, please introduce yourself to us.
Sure. My name is Arron Prisk. I'm a local Pennsylvanian born and raised. I have two amazing kids. I attended Penn State DuBois, graduated in 2012 with my IST degree. I'm currently working as a community engineer at Canonical, the makers of Ubuntu. And before that, I was a network administrator and an IT director at two local school districts.
Exciting, exciting. So you've already gone through quite a few different jobs, giving you a lot of experiences in IT. So we're so proud of you. Could you just get into a little more detail in terms of your journey working in IT so far?
Sure. So I actually started my IT path only about 3 months after I graduated with my associates. I was approached by a member of the West Branch School District who said they had an opening, and I applied and got the position of a network administrator. I worked there for about 6 years. It was a great job, a phenomenal starting position. And I ended up taking a position even closer to home at the Kerwinsville School District, which was my alma mater, as their IT director. I worked there for about 4 years. And then just recently, I took a position with Canonical as a community engineer. And that is a international full remote job. So it's been a bit of a change.
Wow, yeah, that seems to be the trend these days, working remotely, giving us more flexibility, of course, and you could be working from pretty much anywhere. I know Canonical is associated with Ubuntu. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the relationship.
Sure. So Ubuntu Linux is probably one of the most popular Linux operating systems. It's been around for over 20 years now, and Canonical is the parent company that really started it and funds it and fosters it. So my role as a community engineer is to try to take the millions of users and contributors out there to try to help foster growth and promote them and support them. So it's an exciting position to be in. It's something I've been very passionate about for a very long time.
Mhm. That's exciting. I mean, there are so many end users out there, of course, using this distribution of Linux operating system. But also, I know in industry, it's a huge deal. I mean, Linux is heavily being used in industry. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, we have a lot of big corporate users. That is realistically where the money is really made is on the business side. But it's a nice combination between the public contribution and the business side, and it all just kind of works together in harmony.
Very good, very good. When did you graduate from Penn State DuBois?
Would have been in 2012.
I see, 2012. So could you tell us a little bit about the role of your education at Penn State DuBois in your career development so far?
Sure. So I actually started at another university, and I distinctly remember asking my advisor at that school when I was going to start doing more hands-on, like visual IST work, and they said, "Oh, maybe the third or fourth year," which was not an answer I like to hear. So that evening, I emailed Jason Long and just said, I'm considering changing schools. Can you tell me more about the program?" And I remember his email in quote said, "You're gonna be tearing computers apart and putting them back together on day one," which that's all I needed to hear, and I immediately transferred to Penn State DuBois. Um, I really think that type of hands-on visual learning program uh, was huge. I think it was really the catalyst for my career. Um, and I've tried to incorporate that same mentality that I think the IC program employs in my internships and my student mentorships that I've tried to host over the years.
And the rest of it is really history, pretty much,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah,
And I mean, I used to teach heavily, of course, as a professor of information sciences and technology myself. And I do remember a lot of students really wanting to get their hands dirty and really learning from by doing. And I think that sentiment is pretty widespread, especially in IT.
Yes, very
And
much so.
yeah, that's how you learn.
Yes,
And
yes,
I'm
exactly.
so glad to hear that Penn State DuBois is a place where we can really give that type of hands-on education.
Absolutely.
Very exciting. Can you share any kind of a fond memory you had at Penn State DuBois?
Uh, there are quite a few. I spent a lot of time in the DEF building, which is like the main IST building for people who aren't aware, and did a lot of like side projects with some friends of mine that I had met through the IST program. Who, fast forward to today, are like fellow colleagues of mine that I chat with quite a bit. Some of them actually work in the school industry. So it's nice to see that those side projects turned into friendships, which turned into like future like work opportunities for these people. And also probably working with the game day was a lot of fun. So that I really enjoyed working with that. I thought it was actually kind of it was enjoyable from like the gaming aspect, but also we got to employ some of the actual skills we were learning in class in a more practical sense.
Mhm. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what the game day is and educate us.
Yeah, so uh, there's an annual game day where members of the public can come and play video games, and the students from the IST program can volunteer to help run it. So there's a lot of like logistical work and there's some networking that has to go involved. So it's a good opportunity for those, I think, the students to get some good like public speaking skills, interacting with the fellow students and the members of the public. Like I said, planning and logistics. So it's a lot of fun, I think, for everyone involved.
Wonderful. Yeah, going back to our conversation about hands-on education, you really think that our campus is equipped to deliver that just because, of course, all the faculty members we have here really hands-on minded, but also on top of that, all the equipment and the infrastructure we have, which is very unique at our campus. Maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the smaller class size is a huge component of that. Very much hands on. Everyone knows their professors. The professors all know them. Um, I know in larger universities, you won't have the chance to actually. I mentioned like tear apart a server and actually work on it to build your own network. So yeah, being able to actually touch like enterprise grade networking equipment at a first or second year in a university is huge. I don't know anyone else around that does anything similar to that. So it really does. It puts like I said, enterprise grade technology directly in the hands of students to really work towards.
Which is very impressive. Yeah, 100%. Any advice or tips for our students at Penn State DuBois?
Sure. I would say a big tip that I give to students that come through our internship programs has always been to not underestimate the importance of the so-called soft skills, technical writing and public speaking being two that come to mind right away. I don't think they understand just how important and crucial that is when you go into the real world, into the real IT world. That can be the difference between you getting a position, you getting a promotion, you getting seen within your company or business. So don't ever underestimate those gen ed classes and those soft skills that you learn through them. They are vital.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a perfect tip. We didn't really talk about this when we were preparing for our interview, but you just hit the nail right on its head because I think that's what people are struggling with the most, especially when they're out of their college education because they missed that opportunity. And trying to do that after college education really puts a lot of pressure on those people.
Very much so.
Yeah,
Very much
yeah,
so.
yeah. Of course, you can get it done, but
Yeah.
when you have plenty of opportunities,
Yeah.
when you can take all those classes, especially communications classes, reading, writing, presentation skills, I think they definitely need to take advantage of all those opportunities. Take it very
Yes.
seriously. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. The next question I have is any type of academic decisions you made when you were a college student, you thought maybe you could go back and change those decisions, and maybe you could have done better if you made a different decision at that time?
Um, I was in a unique scenario where my career kind of came to me
Mm-hmm.
right
Mm-hmm.
after getting my associates.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
Mm-hmm.
quite close to actually getting my bachelor's.
Mm-hmm.
In
Mm-hmm.
hindsight, I wish I would have continued.
Yeah.
I still think I would
Mm-hmm.
have taken that career path because it opened up a lot of
Mm-hmm.
doors for me. But I still think
Mm-hmm.
finding a way to pursue that bachelor's would have been
Mm-hmm.
extremely helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I probably would have maybe made that more of a
Mm-hmm.
priority. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but no, I think that's
Mm-hmm.
other than that, I would say just
Yeah.
maintain focus, and like I said,
Mm-hmm.
don't
Mm-hmm.
underestimate
Mm-hmm.
those core
Mm-hmm.
classes.
Mm-hmm. Great. I know you're local now, so you have an opportunity to come back to Penn State DuBois and finish your 4-year information technology degree program here.
Yes,
Let's work on that. We always talk about the importance of continuing education. Can you tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are on continuing education, what kind of difference it makes in your career development as an IT professional?
I think it's incredibly important.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is
Mm-hmm.
rapidly changing and
Mm-hmm.
evolving. If you
Mm-hmm.
become complacent, you'll fall behind
Mm-hmm.
really, really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think spending a lot of time learning new skills, refreshing the skills that you currently have, keeping aware of changes in trends within the tech industry is critical. And there's a lot of ways to do that now. There's so much free online courseware, along with paid university programs. I think there's no lack of content out there,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be aware that you need to be learning. Like I said, to keep from getting burnt out and to keep from getting left behind on it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's how you avoid falling behind, and as well as, I guess, getting ahead of the crowd, because you keep improving yourself and you know what is really going on in your industry, and that's how you can focus on a particular area of your interest, and that's how you know what that is. So yeah, continuing education is really critical. Any kind of volunteering you're enjoying these days to help the community, to help the society?
Sure. So I the last few years I've been helping with a nonprofit actually based out of Ontario,
Mm-hmm.
Canada. They
Mm-hmm.
take donated computers from the government or from private industry, and then we repurpose them with some software and tools that my teacher friend of mine actually we came up with. And as of today, we've donated about, I think, 5,000 of these computers to
Wow.
underprivileged schools or underprivileged families in the
Mm-hmm.
US, Canada, and then some in Europe. So that's been an amazing program. I'm very proud of working with that. And then on the
Mm-hmm.
side, also do some writing and authorship with Red
Mm-hmm.
Hat has what's called
Mm-hmm.
opensource.com, which they
Mm-hmm.
publish all kinds of technology related content. It's all free under Creative Commons. So
Wow.
whenever I have time, I try to write some articles for them as well
Mm-hmm.
to help
Mm-hmm.
share knowledge with
Mm-hmm.
the world.
Wow. You're doing a lot. That's really impressive. And a lot of times, I think the equipment you're talking about, I mean, the computers, cell phones, all kinds of computing equipment, pieces of equipment, they just get thrown away. And I'm just so happy to hear that you're repurposing a lot of those devices. That's even good for the environment, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, very
There's
exciting.
so many
Yeah,
benefits to doing that.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
putting
yeah,
computers in kids'
yeah.
hands who don't have
Uh-huh.
access. So it's
Uh-huh.
huge.
Yeah, thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Any future plans? Any career goals?
I think I'd like to probably keep doing what I'm doing for a little while longer.
Uh-huh.
But ultimately, I think I would kind of
Uh-huh.
like to maybe get into teaching IT.
Oh,
I've always
wow.
had a great passion of mine helping,
Mm-hmm.
teach students
Mm-hmm.
and working with
Mm-hmm.
interns. So I've
Mm-hmm.
considered maybe at some point,
Mm-hmm.
maybe
Mm-hmm.
becoming a teacher or professor of
Mm-hmm.
IT.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. That's exciting. That's the career path I've taken. I haven't really looked back since I started, back in 2005. I received my PhD in 2005, and I've been teaching and being in academia since then. Been really enjoying the journey. So yeah, welcome to the world of academia, and I really encourage you to, really explore those opportunities.
Thank you. Yeah,
Wonderful.
I think it's a
Mhm.
worthwhile pursuit.
Mhm. Exciting. Thank you again for your interview today. I'm sure we'll be able to spend some more time later, but it was my pleasure and honor to spend some time with you today.
Well, thank you. You as well.